Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staub and Les Jackson. Hope you are recuperating from eating a lot on Thanksgiving. Hope it was fun for everyone. We got a great show for you this hour. We're going to start, Les, with something that's been concerning a lot of our listeners and viewers about the price of electric vehicles going up and up and up, and some of them going 80, 90,000 or more. Well, GM says they have a plan for EV pricing and people would pay more, but that's not their plan. So that's good to hear, I guess, right?
I think that's the smart way to go
Mm-hmm.
if you want to corner the market. Anyway, and we have Jeep showing off the new Compass, and
Yep.
a lot of people showing off new products.
Yep. We're going to get into that and new powertrain in the Jeep Compass.
Hmm.
We're also going to do some talking tech. Weird pairing here, visible holograms and invisible speakers. so
Okay,
Uh, you don't think about it, but speakers weigh a lot in a car.
they
And
do.
one company has come up with one that's about the size of a passport and about as thick as a passport.
That's pretty small.
You could stick it on your head and walk around.
That's right.
uh,
Or put it in your shoe.
that's right. That's right. So we'll talk about that tech and the holograms is a pretty interesting idea. And you've got an at the wheel review, right?
I do. The Mazda 3 2.5 turbo all-wheel drive Premium Plus, which is a really slick machine.
Yeah, Mazda's done a lot with their interiors. They've really stepped it up
They
across
have.
the board, and it's noticeable. So I'll be interested to check that out. And then in the second hour, we're going to talk about JD Power rolling out its residual value awards, which is great information if you're looking for a vehicle. Which
That's right.
ones hold on to their price? It seems like Jeep is always the winner of that for Wranglers,
It
isn't it?
seems to be. I guess that's just because of the loyal following, because, the typical Jeep has probably received fairly rough duty.
I have a friend that traded a Wrangler in with over 300,000 miles, and they still
Wow.
gave him $5,000 for it. Isn't that crazy on
Gee,
a trade in?
who would want it?
Hey, I said it's ideal if someone could buy it for low money and you're going to tear it up and turn it into, put a big lift kit on it and that you don't really care. It's seen a lot of service. You're going to put a whole new Rancho suspension on it or something like that. So maybe
Hmm.
that's who buys it. I don't know. We'll have to see. And this is an interesting story. The Mecum folks at Mecum Auctions, they had an auctions for vintage tractors, including this turbine-powered International. It was never even built, but it was designed. And one guy took it upon himself to look at their blueprints and build it himself. And then we have, I've seen these around, I think they're Massey's. Uh, they look like a car from the 40s. And then, of
They're
course,
pretty
something
cool.
a little older, um, steam power, which is interesting.
I rode on one of those some years ago.
Boy, that must be real comfortable with those wheels.
Oh, extremely. It's so smooth. Well, you can't tell because your head aches so much.
That's right.
It-
Everything's blurry from riding
Yeah,
along. So people collect everything, and vintage tractors are a big collectible. So we'll talk about that and more, right?
absolutely. Because we love to do it, and we want to create or keep the enthusiasm up from all of our listeners and watchers on YouTube and Facebook.
Yep. I'm also going to have an at the wheel review of the Volkswagen GLI Autobahn edition, the Jetta GLI Autobahn edition. So plenty to talk about on cruise control when we return.
and Les Jackson.
Control.
Everything you need to know about new and used cars.
Control.
Industry news. We'll fix or repair your car on the air.
Control.
Fasten your seatbelts and let us take the wheel. Now, your ride is about to begin
Control.
because you're on cruise control. Cruise control. Cruise control.
And welcome to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Hello, everyone. It's Fred Staub and none other than Les Jackson, and we are glad you are along for the ride because we've got plenty to get to, Les. Of course, many of you are joining us with very full stomachs, aren't they?
Very full stomachs, and maybe some of you are actually rolling down the rather crowded highways.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I guess you saw all of the TV coverage on Wednesday and Thursday of the I-95 corridor from Maine to Florida.
Yeah, I would say
Wow.
try to stay away from it, but if you can, at least listen to us on the radio and check us out because we've got plenty of stories. We're starting off this hour with GM. Comment from them, they say consumers would pay more for electric vehicles, but that's not their plan. They're not going to make you pay more. They want to keep them around the price of traditional internal combustion engine vehicles.
That's right. And over at Ford, they say the EVs will take a lot less labor to build, which is true, and that keeps the price down.
Yeah, sounds good, and we'll talk about that, and we will also talk about Jeep. They showed off a new Compass, and they're also looking for the name of the new Wagoneer, the electric version of that. So we have both a new Compass and the new electric Wagoneer. You can actually help them name it, Les Jackson.
That's pretty slick. I will work on that. I'm going to come up with one.
All right.
And we're going to talk tech in this hour. This time it's visible holograms and invisible speakers.
Yeah,
So
that's weird combo
that's
there. Weird pairing.
a little complicated, but we'll work it out.
Yeah, we will. We will. We'll tell you all about it. And also, we're going to have an At the Wheel review from Les. It is the Mazda 3. Kind of a perennial favorite of yours, isn't it?
Very much. And this is the top end 2.5 turbo all-wheel drive premium plus in a really cool red color.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that and more when we get rolling on this edition of Cruise Control. That's the show you've dialed into. We're really glad you're along for the ride. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. Check out our YouTube page and more. And when we come back, we're going to get into GM's pricing plan. Actually, I'm going to drive one of their least expensive electric cars, and it is their most popular electric car. That is the Chevy Bolt. So we'll talk about that and a whole lot more when we return on Cruise Control. Right now, I'm Fred Staub. He's Les Jackson. We are just getting started, so buckle up and get ready for a whole bunch of automotive information. We'll be right back.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. I'm Les Jackson. That's Fred Staub. This is the right channel. This is your on-air automotive magazine. And we start off with electrics. GM is saying that they could charge a lot for electrics, but they don't plan to because they're smart.
Well,
That's the simple answer.
yeah, they have. This actually came out. We told you last week about this discussion with General Motors President Mark Royce, who kind of tipped his mitt a lot on the automaker's Investor Day that happened back in November 17th of this month. And obviously, if you want to invest, they want to know what's going to be happening with this. Remember, they told us last week there would be two cars coming that would be faster than the Z06 Corvette,
Right.
or two cars that would go beyond the Z06 Corvette. And so now, this week, kind of a little bit about the future pricing model of electric vehicles and making them profitable. So GM says EVs will be profitable by 2025. It took Tesla 17 years of making them only to post their first full profit in 2020. And they have a couple of ways that they think these things will be profitable. According to CEO Mary Barra, she said, "We expect our EV portfolio to be profitable in 2025, including projected greenhouse gas benefits." That's money they get back from the government, I would imagine, for selling clean vehicles, and revenues from software after sales. And she said this is before the benefits of the clean energy tax credits.
Right.
So I'm not quite sure what that means, but I think it might mean subscriptions for.
Well, yes, subscriptions in addition to the OnStar.
Yeah, like subscriptions for heated seats and things like that.
Yeah.
A hated model. BMW, I think, started that. Remember, they were charging for Android Auto, something that every Kia had for free.
That everyone else had
included.
for free. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
I'm not
idea
sure.
of not overcharging for electric vehicles is good.
Well, it is good. Now, they are, in fact, going to be very soon cheaper to make.
Mm-hmm.
There's less assembly,
Yep.
less people involved for assembly. So, hey, this is great. The best way to, make a large fortune is to be able to sell an awful lot of stuff for slightly less profit than selling a few things for a big profit.
So, yeah, that means less Cadillac Celestiques and Lyrics that are
Right.
in the 100,000 plus range, and more Chevy Bolts that are with a tax credit, maybe
Mhm.
$25,000, right?
Blazer EVs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think so. I think so. Now, along with this article, there was kind of a little grid of what has sold, electric vehicles have sold in the U.S. For 2022 so far, even though we're well into the year. I'll just cherry pick some of them. Model 3, Tesla Model 3 is 156,300.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla Model Ys, 165,900. So a lot of those sold. Now, the
For
next,
a lot of years.
that's in 1 year. That is in 20.
Oh, I know, but they've been selling them for
Yes.
a lot of years.
Yes.
So, yeah.
This year, 13,563 Volkswagen ID4s. Hyundai Ioniq 5, 20,000 of those. Ford Mustang Mach-E, 31,144. I believe that is the leader for domestic cars.
It is, and it's only been selling for a little less than 4 years.
Yeah. And let's see, so far this year, They have sold 7,500 Chevy Bolts and 19,618 Chevy Bolt EUVs, the little bit bigger one. That's interesting. I have not seen any of the
I
EUVs.
haven't either, but good for them
Yeah,
because this is a way to get them out there, and they're not pretending that everybody in the country has to drive an electric vehicle because it fits. It has to fit whatever your lifestyle is.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, we'll talk more about their plan for making money over at GM. And as you said, over at Ford, they're saying a lot less labor needed to build these electric vehicles. So we'll talk about that when we come back on Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine.
Cruise Control.
Welcome back. Welcome back. We were talking about electric vehicles and the costs of them, and we started. Fred, you started just before the break about Ford announcing this week that electric vehicles take less labor.
About
than
40%
internal.
less.
Yeah, well, it figures. If you look at all of the people involved just with assembling an internal combustion engine,
Oh, yeah.
and then hooking it up with the cooling system and the exhaust system and all of that, it's people.
Yeah, and it's complex too, and you need a
Yep.
lot of training for them and that. Um, so this was Jim Farley talking to the Financial Times, and he was kind of revealing his plans as well. We talked about Mark Royce at CEO, a CEO of GM, was talking about their plans for electric vehicles financially. And they have Ford, over at Ford, they have a goal of 50% EV sales by 2030. And he said, Farley told the Financial Times that he said the plan, in short, is vertical integration, and it is 40% less labor involved, and they feel that Ford will be buying up suppliers just as Henry Ford did when
Yep.
he started to ramp up Ford to build the vehicles. He was obsessed with controlling the supply chain, which is not a bad thing
Everything.
after
Everything.
we've seen what's happened in the auto industry, right?
Very, very true. If you ever get a chance, go on YouTube and you can see a video of the entire Rouge Ford plant, starting with the raw iron ore going into heating furnaces and turning that to liquid iron and then pouring engine blocks and building every single component of the car. Everything was self-contained.
Wow.
Really interesting to watch.
Well, then you don't end up with, we it does have electric seats, but it will have them at some point in the future when we
Right.
get the parts.
We got it right here. We'll build it.
Yeah.
Now, they don't do that now,
No.
but they're getting back to it.
Yeah. So it will be interesting. They're building that Blue Oval City down in Tennessee. It's something like 6 miles along the property. And I was reading an article about the little town that's there that has, I think 400 people right now, and how that's basically just going to completely change. I'm sure Ford will be investing a lot of money in the town, actually, too. But think about that, a plant that is 6 miles long.
That's, man.
Or facility, not the building's not 6 miles long.
That's just, it's hard to envision.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So, and then also down there, I believe LG is opening a huge plant somewhere in Tennessee. Also huge, huge. These are huge,
Yeah.
huge plants.
That's tough to visualize, because just down the road here is the Pentagon, and that's 1 mile around.
1 mile around.
And that's a big building.
And think of the infrastructure. If you're going to build Blue Oval City, you've got to build your own. You got to make your own
Everything.
Electricity. You
Yeah,
can't.
your own sewage treatment plant, your water, your electricity, roads.
I think there's a bit of engineering involved in building that.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, interesting stuff. So, but I'll ask you this: will manufacturers pass on this labor savings to consumers? Will we see? Right now, we're seeing electric vehicles. Maybe if you're lucky, they start around $50,000. I'm talking a higher end one,
Right.
and then prices of $75,000, $80,000 is pretty common. They are unique at this point. But do you think we will see prices of new EVs, let's say a family size CUV, go back to the $30,000 range, something like that, or are we never going back there?
Well, we've already left there. We're at 47,000 now for the average. But I get your point. I think so, because there's enough competition.
Okay.
That they're just going to have to settle out.
Yeah.
At a particular level. And if one company or two, GM and Ford, can build them cheaper than Hyundai and Kia, they're going to do it.
I tell you, my money's, though, on Hyundai and Kia. When I look
Without
at the
question.
products they've brought out, and, the pricing is not at the higher end of electric vehicles currently.
No.
It seems like everything you say with electric vehicles has currently charge. It's funny. I don't know.
Everything's electric.
Everything's electric. Yeah. So I don't know. I will have to see how this shakes out, and There is a trend of prices coming down for both new cars and used cars. We'll talk about that a little bit later on the show.
Yep.
I think they've come down 1.2%, which in these days, if anything comes down
Hey,
1.2%, it's good, right?
down is good.
Down is good, even if it's not huge. But I believe used vehicles are going to come down pretty significantly. So if
Yep.
you can wait till early next year, it might be worth your while. If you can't, then unfortunately you probably have to pay the price. But let's talk a little bit about a new model or a significantly refreshed model, I'll put it. Um, the Jeep Compass for 2023. A lot of new things going on with this. New interior, new styling, and the big thing under the hood, a new 2.0 turbo engine,
Hmm.
which is a pretty good deal for that. Really will wake this thing up. 200 horsepower, 221 pound-feet of torque. And it's the first time that engine is in that vehicle. This always looks like a mini Grand Cherokee to me, you know?
It does. It doesn't look like a Wrangler.
No, no, it is, and you can get all, of course, it's all trail rated. The new interior, the luxurious looking interior, and that engine is standard across the board, by the way, the 200 horsepower, 2-liter engine. Uh, So, interesting vehicle. I wonder if a lot of people think about the Compass, or do they think of just other models? Jeep's got a lot in their lineup, but this one looks pretty cool. Uh, and of course, it comes with the Trailhawk option, which includes a lot of off-road goodness. Jeep Active Drive Low with a 20-to-1 crawl ratio, a 1-inch factory lift kit with skid plates, aggressive off-road tires, signature red front and rear tow hooks. That's what really makes you capable of going off-road.
That's right.
Yeah. 30-degree approach angle, 24-degree breakover angle, hill descent control, and 19 inches of water fording. It could still tow 2,000 pounds. That's not
That's
bad.
what I love to do.
Water fording.
Yeah, I love to drive through creeks, rivers.
Well, do you like naming vehicles? Because you get your option to name vehicles.
Oh, listen, I want to do that.
All right, let me tell you about this Jeep contest. They are engaging their community, and the Wagoneer is scheduled to launch in North America in 2024. The all-electric Wagoneer, and it's codenamed the Wagoneer S, but you can do better than that, than that name. This is going to be all electric, 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds, and an estimated range of 400 miles. If your entry is picked, this sounds like you, Les Jackson, you'll get a chance to win an all-expenses-paid 6-day unforgettable ski trip adventure to Jackson Hole Mountain Resort for 4 people,
Wow.
valued at $40,000. Whoa, that's expensive 6 days.
That's an expensive trip.
Yeah, when we come back, we'll tell you how you can enter to win that fabulous, unforgettable ski adventure from the folks at Jeep. Stay tuned to Cruise Control. Fred Staub, Les Jackson. We'll be right back.
Control.
And welcome back to Cruise Control, your on-air automotive magazine. Name the Wagoneer. We were telling you about that contest with that fab trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, including lodging, lift tickets, rentals, guide, and instruction, and a $1,000 gift card to the retail store, value of $40,000. So that's big.
That's a nice trip.
Yeah. So contest runs from Wednesday, November 23rd through Friday, December 2nd of 2022. And you enter at namethenewwagoneer.com. Namethenewwagoneer.com. Wagoneer spelled Wagoneer. So namethenewwagoneer.com. You well, don't give it away. You want that?
No, I won't give it. I got it though. I'll tell you off air.
Okay. How are you at skiing?
Oh, actually, we used to ski every year out in Colorado and Utah.
Oh, all right. Well, then this could be you, Les Jackson. So
Yep.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone. Don't tell anyone your entry on air. We don't want anyone going on your ticket there. But let's talk a little tech. This is kind of an interesting technology. It's from the folks at CarBuzz. They found this in the German Patent and Trademark Office, also known as the DPMA. Porsche has come up with a way to make 3D holograms a viable possibility to help cars communicate with other road users. They will use digital signaling processing and microelectronics, and will use their hologram-based head-up display technology to do this, and would have a holographic projector on the top of the vehicle, a small module about the size of a backup camera perched in the middle of the car's roof, like a satellite radio antenna, maybe something around that size. And this hologram projector is shaped to be aerodynamic as well. And it will generate 3D projectors, high-speed imaging processor, which will warn of road hazards and cars making a turn, brake signals, along with text bubbles. Boy, what could you put in there, Les Jackson?
Well, yeah, now that would be interesting.
This article also goes on from CarBuzz to say the possibility, the horror of paid advertising on top of cars. I definitely think they would do that.
Without question.
You know, you'd have like Kim Kardashian talking to you as a 3D hologram out of the roof of your car, you know, telling you what you need. I think, imagine that would do away with those big signs on the top of taxi cabs, right?
It would. Well, you know, it's. I think it's more attractive than signs and painted things on doors. It might be distracting early on because a lot of people have never seen a hologram.
Yeah. You know, it could be a new way for race cars to put advertising. Imagine you look at Le Mans and it's just a bunch of cars going around with ads playing. That might be a bit strange, right?
Yeah, but they're going by so fast you can't.
That's true. That's true.
You can't read it.
Yeah, but I'm always interested in the hologram. You know, I still think that's the way you'll see a concert in the future. You know,
you will.
In the 2053 tour of the Rolling Stones, you'll probably see
well,
them
you know, having come from the laser industry, we developed holograms, and the trick is doing it in color.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to do.
Interesting. What would you put in your text bubble?
Oh, listen, it's funny you ask this because for years I have wanted to put a digital sign on the car, on the back, you know, telling people stop tailgating. You know,
that seems polite.
Your right turn signal isn't working. I've always wanted to type things to people in other cars.
Did you get that? Did you earn that license or did you buy it on Amazon?
That's right.
Mm,
That's right.
yeah. Well, more tech. You don't think about this, but as we get in more and more into electric vehicles, lightweighting will become a big thing to get range.
Yep.
And one of the things that weighs a lot is your sound system in your vehicle. And
Mm-hmm.
heavy speakers, they're also kind of thick, which makes them hard to mount in maybe the ideal place that they should go acoustically. Well, LG has come up with what they call invisible speakers for the cars. And it's innovative technology. It's about the size of a passport and is 0.09 inches thick.
Wow. That's
That is
just a
interesting.
film.
Yeah, it's just almost like a film. They call it the thin actuator sound solution, or TAS. And they're about 5.9 inches by 3.5 inches. And as I said, 0.09 inches thick. They weigh about 40 grams. They're 30% of the weight and 10% of the thickness of a conventional speaker. I would
Now,
like to hear these things, what they sound
I
like.
I would too, because to me this sounds like a very modern um, update of the old planar speakers.
Oh, yeah.
Planar that used to well, planar speakers never worked out very well.
You know what it
They
reminds
basically had
Gosh.
it was just terrible because they still
Unexpected, spurious
that
emissions.
yes, but but the theory is great.
Yeah.
So you need the magnetic field.
Is it sort of like a pressure zone microphone? They were like this. They were just a
Yeah, I would
flat
think.
plate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, glass plate or something that
Hmm.
that vibrates harmonically with the signal.
Yeah.
Um, I I'm anxious to hear this. I
Yeah.
want to.
I think it's great. I really do.
Yeah,
I think it's great. Endless uses for the thing. And
says high quality invisible sound.
yeah.
Well, of
I
course, all sound is invisible, but
right. Yes. Interesting stuff, though. I think there's many uses for that. Remember when people used to have those big speakers that were, the size of your wall and it had
yep.
big cabinets and, imagine that.
I
Imagine,
used to build speakers all the time, and the magnets were sometimes 10, 12 pounds.
yeah. So this would be quite the difference. Quite the difference. So we'll have to check that out. A little talking tech for you uh, this hour. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Now, tell you one vehicle we've talked about, and I don't think you've driven it, is the Bronco Raptor. I haven't driven it.
No, I haven't driven that. I've driven the Broncos,
Driven the Bronco.
but
Um,
not the Raptor.
yeah. Well, apparently, one trend this year we've been talking about for a long time is overpaying well over MSRP. One dealer in Kalamazoo, Steely Ford of Kalamazoo, Michigan, says they are charging $34,000 over MSRP for the Bronco Raptor.
Ooh.
They're
Oh,
just
come on.
150 miles from Dearborn's headquarters. I think Jim Farley should pay them a
Hmm.
visit. What do you think?
I would love to see that.
Walk in, it's like, why is this selling for that much? Yeah,
Yeah.
a market price of 108,105, including destination. Ha!
I
So,
just don't buy it. Don't. But just wait a year and you'll be able to buy one for less than MSRP.
yep. I tell you, I just picture that. I just picture somebody coming in and from Ford and
Yeah.
saying, "What's with this?" But internet outrage, they say, is the most effective tool against that. And your feet,
Absolutely.
just wait. I tell you, even regular cars back during the heyday of this over MSRP type situation, I would go on and it will give you 5 dealers, and 3 of them would not charge markup. So guess what? Those are the ones
That's
to
right.
go to, right?
I just watched a local Ford dealership commercial. Well known, a very large family set of dealerships, and the commercial actually says, "We finally have cars now after the shortage of the last 2 years, and we're selling everything uh, below MSRP."
Yeah.
Well, good for you. Now I'll go there
Yeah, because
if
you'll
I
know
need a.
it's like, hey, they'll give you 2 grand off. I would just jump at
It's
it today.
set up to 5,000 off.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Of course. Well, that's probably for an expensive
I would
truck or
rather
something.
just tell me the price. You know what I mean? Let's just,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, hey, when we come back, Les is going to go tooling around in his Mazda 3. So stay tuned for an At the Wheel review.
Cruise Control.
Hey, welcome back to Cruise Control. You ready, everybody? This is At the Wheel time, and I have been enjoying a nice 2023 Mazda 3
Mm-hmm.
2.5 turbo all-wheel drive, Mr. Staub,
Oh, yeah.
hatchback, premium plus
That's a lot
package.
to say.
That's it. That's the top. And it's in that red. For those looking at Facebook or YouTube, it's that red. It's called Soul Red Crystal Metallic,
So a tinted clear coat.
and it is bright. It's really a nice color.
Mm. Looks good.
I was actually stopped twice while I was out on errands. People saying, "Wow, that's a great color. What is that?"
Painted it myself.
I, it's a magic marker. Anyway, Mazda 3 is of course super popular Mazda model because it's affordable and it's great fun to drive. In fact, I'll be honest, it's you get in it and even if you're in a bad mood or just not even any mood, you just sort of feel a little bit younger when you just get behind the wheel. Everything is snug. You start the engine, it's got just a little bit of throat to it. And walking in, of course, you've noticed the 18-inch black alloy wheels and the 215 45 ratio tires. You know, it's a sporty sports sedan. And the hatchback makes it even look more so.
Yeah.
So, what's it like? Well, because it's the high-end Mazda 3, the driver's seat is power. A lot of Mazdas are manual seats. So you got lumbar support and driver memory and all the keyless entry and push-button start. Are we getting any more key start vehicles?
I don't know. I haven't had one in a long
I haven't been
time.
in one in it's a long time.
Yeah.
And it was really cold last weekend, and it has great seat heaters and a heated steering wheel, and I was very thankful
Yeah.
for the heated steering wheel because I hadn't taken my gloves out. So, by the way, 227 horsepower, 310 pound-feet of torque.
Wow. That's a lot for that small vehicle.
Now you got to get on it because it's turbo. You got to get it cranked up to feel that. But it's worth the effort as long as that you have some room to move. It also just has a lot of other stuff. It's got a system called G vectoring control, which is a very, very sophisticated anti get yourself in trouble system.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do it. It also comes with a power moonroof, and an adaptive front lighting system and rain sensing wipers. This is really
Loaded up.
really loaded up.
And this is
And that's
all-wheel
without the
drive,
option.
too.
That's without the optional equipment that I'll talk about shortly.
This is all-wheel drive, right, Les?
It's all-wheel drive.
That's a lot of stuff in a small space.
A lot of stuff. It's got an 8.8, so 9-inch color display, which is plenty large because it's not a big car. Dual zone climate control, of course, all of the sound system and electronics along with Sirius. And it's really comfortable. You even though these are pretty wide ratio or low ratio tires, the suspension system is just compliant enough that you don't get beaten up. You just get to go into turns with a lot of, let's say, enthusiasm.
Okay.
That's the word I'm using.
I like it. Enthusiastic driving.
Yes, spirited driving.
Spirited driving.
not reckless. Um, it's again, because it's turbo. There's no turbo lag, but there's just a general, as you accelerate normally, there's just a general come up to speed before it starts to feel torquey.
Ken?
You don't. Honestly, I think half the people that drive it wouldn't notice that,
Mm-hmm.
but you would, Fred. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so, what do you get for that portion? Well, that's 35,300, and that's the standard equipment.
Okay. And
And then if you want optional equipment, which Mazda's pretty good about this because the paint, which by the way is worth it, is $595.
Yep.
But if you like red,
Yeah.
get this.
Yeah.
Just get it.
Yeah. Their
It's great.
CX5 has that color. It really pops.
Yeah.
Something similar to it, at least.
Yeah. And the rear bumper guard, stainless bumper guard, is frankly I didn't notice it, but it's $135. And the rest of these things, which I'm just going to read them off real quick. The rest of these leather seats, of course, front and rear parking centers, 360-degree view monitor. Those are becoming much more common in cars.
Love them.
Traffic jam assist, which if you live around a city, you want that.
Mm-hmm.
Auto dimming side mirror along with the rear mirror.
Mm-hmm.
HomeLink nav system,
Mm-hmm.
traffic sign recognition. Sirius, I already mentioned that. Smart brake support, rear cross traffic, front air dam, and a black rear hatch spoiler. I know you insist on a spoiler.
Only if it's 6 feet tall.
That's right. All of those, even though they're considered optional equipment, no charge.
Okay.
So when you add what there is a charge for and the delivery, which is $1,065, it's $37,095, which for the performance and the look, it's not a bad price. Bear in mind, though, it's a Mazda 3. It's the base, or it's the lowest Mazda model, not entry level. There's no such thing as entry level anymore.
Right.
Everything is very well equipped, but it's a little hefty. I think I would.
But it is all-wheel drive, and
Oh, it
you
is.
got all the
It
safety stuff. You got all
Everything.
the tech stuff. I just don't know how they put it all in such a small package, all-wheel drive and everything else.
It is amazing. I mean, it doesn't feel like an all-wheel drive car. It doesn't feel heavy. Mileage, maybe 30 on a trip, but it's really kind of in the 25 overall.
Yeah.
5 stars in the NHTSA safety rating, so it's pretty hard to go wrong.
Well, I think, though, the problem it has is most people would probably opt for that price for a small crossover, you know?
That's exactly right. Because while you're at the Mazda dealership, you're going to look at the CX models
CX-30.
and think, well, you know,
CX-5, yeah.
I've got the dog, you know, and
Yeah. I don't know what they are price-wise compared to this, but I bet they're pretty close.
say very similar.
Yeah. They've really done a lot on their interiors. That's
They have high quality materials. This was black, not my favorite interior color, but
there you have
very
it.
nice.
At the Wheel Review, we have plenty of them, and we appreciate you listening to Cruise Control. Don't forget to check us out at cruisecontrolradio.com. Time for me to say I'm Fred Staub.
I'm Les Jackson.
We'll see you down the